Oh, I forgot I pressed the live button. Give me a moment here. So I am trying to find some footage, some better footage, I shall say, of the press conference that just happened from the Gilgo. Here we go. Oh, wait. She is, where is she? Hold on a second. Gilgo, Suffolk County. Hold on a second. Whew. Dude. Dude. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Not hey, oh hey Sleuths Investigate, long time no see. I'm not gonna be on here too long, but I was just actually watching, which was pretty cool. I found I don't even know how I found the live stream. Oh, I know how I found it. So if you guys remember a couple of weeks back, I was I was I was going over that clown guy's videos. What's his name? Drip Drop. And I found this channel called Publicly Buzzed, and they had done a video on him. And so, I was watching their videos, and I subbed to their channel, and so now of course I'm seeing all their videos and their what do you call it, community posts and everything. So they had shared this other channel, which was called, hold on a second, let me get the name of it so I don't mess it up. The person's name is Jay, and I think that's the name, like his name on here, but the channel has a different name. But anyway, he happened to be posted down at the house. Basically, he was sitting on the road out there, so I was watching his live stream. And he's from here, so he's a native Long Islander. So I was like, this is pretty cool. How often do we get to meet other people in our area on YouTube from the same, with the same interests and stuff. Let me get his channel link real quick. That are doing like true crime. That's pretty cool. I actually just met a whole bunch. So he was streaming, basically standing outside, streaming the press conference. And why can't I find footage of this though? That's the problem. I want to get a little better footage, but I'm not seeing any right now. So give me a second here, because I'm sure it was streaming from multiple places. Let me see what's going on here. Hold on one moment. Gilgo press conference. So Ray Tierney, the district attorney, was basically giving a press conference outside the house. They're wrapping things up today, so it's pretty much over. The search is over. They collected most of the evidence that they were looking to collect, and I knew that they weren't going to get into specifics. We know the shaming of Jay, I think, is handled. Is it okay? I'm gonna grab it in a second. Yeah, Drip Drops and moron, the guy. But it was a little hard to hear, just because he wasn't obviously mic'd up like most of the news stations are, so I missed a little bit. But one thing that they confirmed 100% was that this guy had 92 gun permits, right? And then on top of that, then he had that was for handguns, because you have to get permits here if you want to have a concealed carry permit. And then on top of that, there was 279 guns in total. Now he said they weren't like complete guns, so there was just, I guess, maybe pieces of some or whatever. But like, why was that not flagged in the system? When you think about it, right? If you have to go through this application process to get guns here. It's quite a process, quite a heavy process. I mean, they do like a full background search on you and everything. 92 times, nobody questioned. I mean, what would one person need 92 handgun permits for? That's not a police officer or something. I mean, you only have two hands. I just don't understand it. That's a lot. Thank you, Nana. Thank you. All right, Nana's got the link. She took care of that for me, so that was cool. But I mean, just think about 92. Nobody that didn't send up any type of red flags anywhere. I don't know. I'm trying to look for a better video of the press conference here, so just give me a second. But yeah, 92 guns. That is wild. Absolutely wild. You know what? I wonder if News 12 was streaming it on their channel. I see another YouTuber, but I don't want to, I don't want to take hers. Um wow. Unbelievable. Uh that's 10 days ago. What? Why can't I find this? 92 guns is just insane though. I mean, what are you doing with 92 guns? I don't care if you're a hunter. That's excessive. And you know, it just goes to show how nobody questions these things, because we see this quite often in other shootings, right? That happen where these people are collecting ridiculous amounts of firearms, and it's like, how are they able to do this, without being flagged somehow? I mean, that's sorry, man. I know some people are not like into the whole gun control thing, but I just don't see a need for anybody ever having to own that many guns. That's kind of insane. So let me see if I can find this. I'm gonna try to do different. I see this girl is. Hold on a second. Let me click on hers and see where she's streaming from, or where she was streaming from, rather. Massapequa Park. I don't want to stream snipe her because she's live right now. No, that's not right. But she is. It doesn't. Oh, ABC News Live. Okay, let's see if we could find that. News Live. Okay. I mean, you would just think at some point in time they'd be like, "Wow, 92 handgun permits. That's just for the handguns." I'm pretty sure when you buy like rifles and stuff, I'm not. Look, I don't own any guns, so I'm really not sure how the whole process goes. But wow, that is just insane. Let's see if they have it here on their. Nope, this is Joe Biden. We do not want to listen to him. Not to be an asshole, but I'm like the worst at this. I'm not a YouTuber, so I mean, I'm not a YouTuber. I'm not a crime YouTuber, at least. News 12, Long Island. All right, let's see if we can find a stream. I can't believe I can't find this. But yeah, that is insane. Shit. This is not live. Okay. If anybody knows where I can find the stream, let me know. Let me know. Because I couldn't hear everything that was being said, so it was kind of hard to hear. But let's see, Gilgo Press Conference. I don't want to stream snipe people. Grizzly True Crime, I think that's the name of the channel. That I guess she has it, but I'm not. I don't want to do that to her. So let me try this. Filters, and then we'll do today. And hers is the only one coming up. That's so weird. Interesting. Well, anyway, they didn't answer too many specific questions, and I kind of knew that was going to be the case, because you know what I'm saying. They typically aren't going to give us so much evidence of what exactly was going on. Target shoot. I can't. Yeah, I don't think they should have AR style weapons. There's just no need for that. I mean, if you're shooting for target practice or you're a hunter, I don't know. I just don't see the value in that. With 4 bodies, what the hell? AP Press, you're a little behind there. I can't believe I cannot find a stream that's streaming this besides this one person. Let's see, Rex Heuermann press conference. I don't know where to find this. Rex Heuermann press conference. Let's see. Anyway, wow. So they didn't confirm anything. A lot of the news that was coming out, like people saying that he killed somebody in the house and DNA, none of that was confirmed by the police. So just goes to kind of show you that you can't really trust the news all the time because it's not reliable. It's just not. All right, I'm not stealing this girl's stream. I can't believe I can't find this. I know this one guy. There's that guy I was just watching, but I'm trying to find somebody who's not. I don't want to take somebody else's stream. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? This is interesting though. There is no um there's no video. Listening and editing. Hey Alicia. I think it's ridiculous for a random person to have that type of weapon. Go shoot at a range. You need, yeah, I know. It's really, really insane. So they asked why they were digging in the property, and they basically said that they were using this like ground penetrating radar that was basically pretty crazy. It was what do you call it? The ground pit, so they were hitting on things, but it doesn't mean that it was anything significant. It just means that, they could kind of see objects, I guess if I had to guess, it kind of works like the same way. If you ever watched what was that, Adventures with Purpose, it kind of works the same way, how their radar works, where they could kind of see something, under the water. And so they were seeing things. They of course didn't specify what exactly it was that they were seeing, but nevertheless pretty interesting that, I don't know if that's like typical for them to do. Sonar radar, yeah, whatever they call it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if that was like, if that's typical of them for how they go about this. I can't believe I can't find a stream of this. Hold on. Let me Rex. So they're wrapping up though. And it's funny because again, this morning I was thinking, maybe I should take a ride out there. And then I was like, oh, I seen on the news because I, on Instagram and everything, I obviously follow a lot of the local like news stations, and they're really asking people to basically stay away from, that area now, and, let the residents that live there have some peace. So let me see if I can get the ABC live stream and then rewind a little bit, if they allow that to rewind. What's going on here? ABC New York, that's probably the best place to go. I don't know if they have. Ah, 24 minutes to 12. Is this it? Maybe. Hold on a second. No, this isn't it. Hold on a second. They had the house blocked with a van the other day. Yeah, they've been blocking. I mean, you couldn't even get onto the street over there. So they had it all blocked off. I just can't imagine being the people that live there, and just having to deal with all this chaos. I'm sure they're happy that it's over. He said they were wrapping up, I guess, today, and then they're just gonna, they gotta get all the rest of their stuff. Could you stop barking? They gotta get all the rest of their stuff out of there. And then, people are asking questions about the family and whether they're returning to the house, and he didn't really have answers for that. They're clearly going to be represented by counsel, so they spoke to the family's counsel. But you know what? I'm sorry, but I just can't help. I can't help but feel bad for the family that their lives are just completely turned upside down. The cops just go through the house; they're not going to clean that up. So the family is going to be responsible for having to like clean that mess up. They tore through the house, and that's going to be it for the family. That's just, oh my God. Could you imagine having your whole house ripped through by strangers, and then, hold on, let's see.
Rex Heuermann's backyard.
Okay. Let me rewind this.
The latest in the Gilgo Beach murders. Newscopter 7 over the scene yesterday as excavators were used to dig up Rex Heuermann's backyard. The case.
All right. This is about the excavators, which we already know about. My bus goes through the complex with a medical exam. I wonder if they will divert traffic today. What do you mean? Glad you're back. Preach girl yesterday. Oh yeah. What a shit show. That was like torture, honestly, to listen to. Not because of Alicia, just because listening to Wendy V, which I typically don't do, and then Tracy on top of that. I I would not sit through one of their you know, I wouldn't sit through one of their things, their live streams, if it wasn't for like somebody else streaming them. Like, it's so weird how overly upset they were by being called mean girls. I mean, I've been called worse by better, you know what I'm saying? Sorry, I'm trying to find. Yeah, burnt toast was interesting last night too. Absolutely. I can't believe I cannot find this live stream. Like, what's wrong with me here? I guess because it's not live anymore. I gotta wait for it to be posted, possibly in other places. So, sorry about that. I thought I would be able to find the stream. I don't want to stream snipe anybody else. But yeah, burnt toast basically went over the I guess it's Queen Bee's response to Betty Bullhorn's, you know, complaint, right, in court. And basically what I got out of it was that, you know, Betty Bullhorn, I mean, I heard the reading of that whole quote unquote lawsuit, and it was just complete trash. Like, I've read court documents before, right? I've had to have court documents written up, and I've never seen one that horribly written in my entire life, obviously, because it's written by her, not an actual attorney. But none of the things that she's alleging in this lawsuit, like, she doesn't give any specific examples of what's happening to her that Queen Bee has done specifically. You know, it's like, oh, tweets and this and that, and blah, blah, you know, it's all over the place. So basically, the attorney responded in a sense where it was like, well, we don't even know exactly what the problem is. You know, we need more specific answers here. So, oh, the Kohlberger case is taken over. What's going on with that? I can't believe I can't find this. It's like it's insane. But yeah, so you know, it's just crazy. It's just crazy. So basically, she's gonna have to rewrite her whole entire suit again. You know, I need someone who gets notifications. Drop me a message on my last video when all these people go live. I don't get shit and I miss everything. Angel, you gotta try. I don't know what's going on with YouTube notifications, but it would. It's not like working because I'm not getting notifications for a lot of the channels that I, you know, am subscribed to. And then, like, I noticed one day, I just went on Queen Bee's channel, right? Because she's one of the channels, and like, I would find out she was live, and I didn't, you know, I didn't get a notification. So I go and look, and I realized that it didn't say all for some reason, which I could have sworn it did, because typically when I subscribe to somebody, I always put it on all notifications. And I wasn't getting notifications. Like, I don't know if YouTube had some type of glitch, but you know, obviously you're not going to go to every channel you're subscribed to and do that. But the people that you typically watch, make sure that you're subscribed, you know, for all notifications. Otherwise, it just selects randomly, you know. You know what the problem is? I don't know what they would call this. Is it the Rex Heuermann press conference? Is it the Gilgo Beach press conference? Is it the just Suffolk County Police, you know, press conference? Let's try that. Suffolk. Hold on. I'm doing it on YouTube. Suffolk Police press conference. Maybe that's why I'm having trouble finding it. I don't do a true crime channel. Oh, no, that's from 10 days ago. So Sleuth Investigate is in here, and she was saying that they took the website down, the Gilgo News website. And I'm like, why would they do such a thing? I mean, it's a great website for resources on the case if you're looking for, you know, a timeline. I do know that there's another YouTuber here. Evil, what the hell's his name? Oh my god, I can't remember his name. Profiling Evil. He has a channel, and he did and I haven't even checked it out yet, but he did a website, and it has, oh, get out of here. Kohlberger hasn't supplied the state with his alibi notice yet. That's interesting. I would love to hear what his alibi is. Oh my goodness. I mean, look, dude, if you had a serious alibi, why haven't we seen it yet? Here's that one, the J one. Yeah, he was covering the press conference. He's still live, so I don't want to stream snipe him. I cannot believe this. Oh, here was one, but no, that's from 10 days ago. Police officer shot, briefing, Suffolk DA. These are all old ones. So fucking weird. GOP. Hold on, I'm just scrolling down here to see if we can find anything. But interestingly enough, oh, maybe WFLA has one. They always stream press conferences. Let me go on their channel. Hold on a second. Gilgo Beach serial killings press conferences. But this is the old one. Let's see if they got a stream from today. Pretty sad that I would have to go to a Florida station to find this, but apparently my local news, last thing they have is the Carly Russell. Interesting. All right. Well, there's that. Suffolk Police. Let's see. Gilgo press conference. I already put that in though. That's not coming up. I could put Long Island serial killer. I don't know if they put that. Let's see. Oops. Island. I gotta get that press. Oh no. Long Island serial killer press conference. Let's see. Everything's from 10 days ago. It's so fucking weird. I guess you just gotta kind of wait. Let's see today. Go to today. Live. Nope. It still goes to this girl's thing. AP with 4 bodies. Cops eye. What? Why are they putting this up? This must be like old coverage or something. It's so weird that they're just now posting this. Interesting. Live from Rex Heuermann's house. This is a channel I was just watching. Oh, all right. Sorry. Can't find it. I guess we'll have to wait. They don't have I could probably go to the News 12 website, but I don't know if you could rewind their streams. Let me see if we could rewind this stream. I feel like Laura right now, right? She's like, oh, I'm a true crime YouTuber, but I'm never prepared for anything. Although I just don't claim to be a true crime YouTuber. News 12, Long Island. And I know you could watch them live. I'm sure they were covering this. I mean, select your TV provider. That would, oh my God, I gotta sign in. Am I on this? Okay, no. Let me see if I can sign in. I think I remember my damn password for this though. Probably not. Up. Online. All right, Ovi, you're gonna have to wait a second. The turd bucket. Shit, I have no effing clue what my password for this website, and I really don't want to change it because I have it all saved in my phone. Let's see if this works. I forgot my password. Let's see what happens when I do that. Is there supposed to be a press conference? Yeah, no, there was a press conference already. I just can't find it. Wow, found one thing. Human remains found. Get out of here. I didn't hear that. They didn't say that in the press conference. I don't know. I just tend to only trust what comes from the actual police. Oh, I'm such an idiot. Hold on a second. I think oh no. Oh, I don't want to reset my password. It's going to log me out of everything. So annoying. I have my password saved on here, but let me just see. What a pain in the ass this is. I know they have News 12 YouTube. News 12 YouTube. If not, we'll have to find it another day. We'll just have to find it another day. So weird. They have like streams, right, that are live, but not saved. Like, how weird is that? Here's their page. This is our local news. right? If we go on live, well, they're not live right now because look at the length of that one, 385 hours. And they don't have a stream up for this. I don't know. That is so strange. All right. According to Nerdy, they can't run Heuermann's DNA in CODIS until he's convicted. Yes, per New York law. That's I heard that them say that. So that's the law here, which is really weird because you would think during an investigation, if they collect a sample, they could run it in CODIS, but that's not the case. So when you're arrested and then convicted here, then, which is a stupid law. They need to change that, honestly. I mean, what a stupid law, You're preventing the police from being able to do their job. I mean, that's just ridiculous. So according to them, and that is true. Once you're arrested here for any type of violent offense, you are required to give a DNA sample. And that's how they caught this John Bitteroff guy out east who they call a serial killer. He's only had 2 victims, but he's had they suspect him in a third. So anyway, that's how they caught him, because his brother was convicted of an assault, and so he had to go submit his sample. Once they got his sample, they ran it through the CODIS system, and they realized that his DNA was like a partial match for DNA that was found at a crime scene years ago, over 30 years ago. And so they knew it had to be a close relative to him. So they then, they ran it through the system, and then they started following the brother. Somehow they were able to tell that it wasn't his, but it was somebody close to him, like a sibling. And so they started following the brother around. I believe they went through his trash, and then they got a sample, or it was like a cigarette butt or something like that he had flicked out the window. I forget exactly what it was, but they had gotten a sample from him, and then it was 100% match. And so, he got arrested. Pretty crazy how that happens. But in this case, the DA was just saying that they can't take a sample from him, which is just like, I don't know, it's fucking crazy to me. So anyway, I'll wait a few minutes and see if they, come up with anything on this. So, yeah, that case is crazy. I remember when that guy got arrested, John Bitteroff, like everybody was like, that's it, that's the serial killer, because he was his victims. And they said this and they never specified. And I would love to see if there was any way I could get like court documents from that case, like under a FOIA request, but it probably cost a lot of money. But in his case, so they found the victims. It was both women were, prostitutes or whatever. And they were posed in a very specific way, the bodies. They were posed. So like he not only laid them out, but like posed them in a very disgusting, specific way. So, so anyway, that was why I guess they were, saying that they didn't think he was Lisk because the bodies were different. And, people were really like starting to think, I mean, if you go on any even YouTube videos here, you'll see that people are talking about that, they're talking about him in a lot of the videos here. Because people were like, it has to be him. And then the cops came, live, and or whatever. They did a press conference. They're like, no, there's no association. Right now, they don't think that he's responsible. But, I'm sorry. I was talking about the way the bodies were posed. Well, they were found in Manorville. And so 2 of the Gilgo victims, I believe also, I think it was Jessica Taylor. And then I don't know if it was the other girl, Valerie Mack. But 2 of their, I think it was her as well. Bodies were found like out east in kind of the same area. So it's pretty interesting. But they don't have any, I mean, I haven't heard anything. He's convicted now. He's in prison. So his trial was, I think it was last year, if I remember correctly. And it wasn't very like widely reported on, which is crazy to me. So now we got how many serial killers from Long Island? We got Rex Heuermann. We got what's his name? Shit, I always forget this guy's name all the time. Another very famous serial killer from Long Island. who was actually caught, which is disgusting, but he was caught with one of the bodies in the trunk of his car while he was like transporting it to a dump site. I always forget his name for some reason. Rifkin, right? Joel Rifkin. Joel, right? And then there's another person that they say was a serial killer, but I personally think of him more as like a mass murderer because he shot up the train, the Long Island Railroad. The hell was his name? I can't remember his name, but and now we got Rex Heuermann. Hold on, moderator. Let me scroll up there. Let's see if I can find it. I know they're running the conference. I don't want to stream snipe them. I know. I didn't want to take their stream. That's not right to do. So take somebody else's work. So yeah. Joel Rifkin, I think Rex wanted to be him. Yeah, possibly. I mean, I think it's just a target. I think that a lot of serial killers target these women just because first of all, it's easy access, right, to them. The deal's already made. You know, once you contact them, it's like, okay, well, we're gonna meet up. You know, it's money, you pay for it, and you know what I'm saying. You don't have to put work in like you would with a normal woman. You know, so they're easy to. It's just the ease of access to these women, and then more often than not, you know, they don't have family members or people that care for them. So they go missing. The cops are usually disinterested, which happened in this case. You know, a lot of the girls, the families, you know, reported them missing, and the cops refused to look into it because they're like, well, she's in the sex trade and, you know, she's an adult. She could have left on her own, you know, so they're known to disappear, a lot of them, because they're drug addicts, you know, so they might disappear for days at a time. They're nomadic. They're moving around all the time. So it's like, you know, perfect victim, basically. You know, a regular woman is a lot harder. Like, you know, Ted Bundy was able to do it because he was a good looking guy. You know, he was able to lure women in because he was a decent looking guy. You know, he didn't look like a fucking ogre like Rex Heuermann. I mean, let's be honest, you know, that guy probably had trouble picking women up, you know? I mean, he was married twice, but I think, you know, obviously, and as you age, it's going to be harder and harder to pick women up. And so he went after these girls because it was an easy, you know, connection and an easy target for them. It's kind of just sad that people do that. I just wonder how many more girls are out there that had interactions with him because, you know, any of these serial killers that have done this, that have used, you know, prostitutes as victims, there's all like stories that have come out, even with Ted Bundy. You know, there's women that escaped. So you know, it would be interesting. I know there was the one girl that came forward, but I question her story just a little bit. I don't know, you know, if it's 100% true. You would think, right? If this guy was going to go out on dates with these women, the last thing you would want to do, especially if you're going to victimize one of them, is talk about the Long Island serial killer case. I mean, you know, it's like way to scare the girl off. I don't know. That just sounds odd to me, but hey, you never know. Because she was also, I watched another interview that she did this morning. Let me see if I can find it. And she was on CNN. Still don't know if she talked to the police, but she did another interview this morning that was on CNN. And you know, she had, I don't know, the story changes. Yeah, Pascal's doing the press conference too. I don't know where these people are finding it. I just don't want to stream snipe, you know, people that I don't know how they accessed it. Oh, wait, hold on a second. What's this? Oh, wait, this is from Fox News. Live press conference. I have Grizzly True Crime, but I don't want to do that to her. That's just not right to do. Hold on a second. Ooh, oh, here we go. Hold on a second. Yay. All right. Never mind. The other girl's interview. We found this. Oh, shit. Hold on. I messed up. All right. Got my Zoom ready to Zoom. Ooh, you got a Zoom call? All right. So I don't know if this is the whole entire thing. It wasn't that long. So But this is
New York State Police, Suffolk County Sheriff's Office, and FBI, who all of whom participated in one way or the other with regard to the
I hate that this is Fox News, but they're the only ones that have it posted.
the search. I really, other than that, I don't have any. I don't have anything else to
Okay, this is the very beginning, so.
say, but I'm more than willing to take questions. Anybody have questions?
Is there any indication that any woman was killed here in the house?
So there's no, I don't believe at this time that we can say one way or the other. Either evidence does not point either one way or the other.
Oh, I just want to talk about something real quick that's kind of confusing me here. Yeah, I triumphed. One thing that's kind of confusing me here, right? I've heard mixed stories about this. I was thinking of this morning. So Dave Schaller, who was Amberlynn Costello's, roommate, basically, they lived in the house together. I have watched everything that you could think of that I could find related to this case over the years. Okay. And he had done quite a few interviews. He was in the 48 Hours interview. He was on the Killing Fields, I think it was called. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I keep getting that confused. The Killing Season. That was a series that came out way before any of these podcasts or anything. That was on A&E years ago. I want to say around like 2016, because I kind of remember my mom still being alive when that came out. So, and then they also did a podcast called the List Podcast, and he was also on that. And I think those are the only three things. Oh, I'm sorry. There was another one. There was another series which they just posted on and I don't know if you guys are subbed to this channel, but if you're not, and I don't know if I think it's open to everybody. I don't know if it's just for premium, YouTube premium, but it's called the LMN. And they just posted this episode. I totally forgot about it. And I don't remember exactly where it originated from. I don't know what channel it was on. And so whatever that was, he was also in that. And he had told this story several times on all these different things that, that night when Amber had come around, had left, that he walked outside, but didn't walk far enough to see the car that she had gotten into, right? Now, this morning, I'm hearing like news reports that, he's saying that he saw the car that night. It's just, this story is a little confusing, right? Because if you listen to all these different interviews that he had done, he said he didn't see the car that night. Now they're saying, and I don't know if news is just like sensationalizing this, like, oh, the cops ignored his tip. He saw the car. But from what I understand, he saw the car not that night, not the day that she went missing, but the day prior. Because, they had done this ruse at the house. And it also says this in the bail document. But they're saying like the police ignored his tip, basically. And I'm like, it's just confusing. I don't know what the real story is on that one. Because if you listen to all his interviews, he says he didn't see the car that day. And he doesn't talk about, I went back because I could have sworn there was an episode of something that I saw where he was talking and he talked about a pickup truck, but I couldn't find it anywhere. I went back and listened to everything with him and I just cannot find it. I know that in the List podcast that I shared on my community page, he does talk about like similar situations, and maybe that's what I'm thinking of, but I could have sworn, maybe it was in a book I read it, I don't know, but I could have sworn that there was something where he said something about a pickup truck. I swear to God, because I remember always thinking about a pickup truck through the years, so I don't know. Either way, it's just a little confusing as to when he saw it, and did the cops ignore his tip, and why would the cops ignore his tip? He's the closest person to one of these girls. You know what I'm saying? That was there, that could have seen somebody, because the rest of the girls, when they went missing, they were completely by themselves. It was either from a hotel or an apartment or wherever they were picked up. So, Amber, I always felt like Dave Schaller was the key to this whole thing. So, I don't know. I don't know what's going on, but the news is like getting really confusing. It's starting to confuse me. So, all right. Yeah, they keep calling her. Yeah, I know, Sleuth. That's also bothering me. They keep calling him her pimp, and like that's not the case at all. He was just a friend. He wasn't like her pimp. She didn't have a pimp. I mean, not every girl has a pimp. That was the whole thing with these girls, right? and probably what also made them more accessible to killers like this is because, when you have a pimp, you sort of have protection. A lot of these girls, they were done, they weren't doing pimps, they were just doing this on their own. So like they didn't have that backing, that protection, even though pimps like are abusive sometimes. Well, I shouldn't say none of them did, because Shannon did, and I think, was it Megan? I don't know. One of the other girls, the boyfriend, was basically her pimp, which is just fucking mind blowing to me. Because like, why would you want your girlfriend sleeping with other men? So weird. Oh, thanks, KB Bells. Like, why? That's disgusting. But all right, let me just press play.
I would say that we have obtained a massive amount of material, all of which has to be cataloged and analyzed, and it's going to take quite some time.
So just a quick follow-up. If a victim's DNA turned up on material in the house, would that indicate perhaps that she was killed here?
So I'm not going to talk about what ifs, but with regard to what, if anything, was recovered, it's not like TV. It's going to be a while for the analysts to do their job. Now it goes from here to trace section, and then to if appropriate, the DNA section.
So yeah, I knew they weren't going to really answer that because they have so much testing to do. Like they just collected everything. So there's no way that they could know that the things that they collected have potential evidence. And then you also have to remember 13 or plus years have gone by. What's the chances of DNA still being on these? Well, the DNA will still be there if he hasn't altered the items in any way, but interesting. I just want to know if they found the phones, because he held on to at least 2 or 3 of the girls' phones and was using them to make phone calls. Well, at least one girl's phone to make phone calls to the family. But then I think he also, what's so funny, and I just remembered this, when I was watching the 48 Hours episode that had come out years ago, like before they even found Shannon Gilbert's body, okay? They were saying that he had called the boyfriend too of one of the girls. And I forgot about that. That was another, detail from her phone. He was calling the boyfriend. And then, but he was also calling to check voicemails from their phones for at least 2 of them. I don't know if there was a third one with that, but yeah, at least for 2 of them.
So that's a process.
Yesterday, the police commissioner said that the search was fruitful. Can you elaborate on any of the potential evidence taken from here?
I think what he's referring to is the amount of evidence, which is quite a lot, and now it's up to the job of the task force to go through that evidence, and we that's a process, and we need to do that process, but we won't know exactly what we have for quite some time, because just given the sheer volume of evidence that was taken.
Think about it. They were there, and he says this many times, like the house was very, very cluttered. So there was a number of people there. I mean, there was a lot. You guys saw the video I showed yesterday at the end. Well, not at the end of my live, but towards the end of me discussing this topic was, and apparently, that's a problem. I shouldn't do that. But anyway, you could see that there was, just a lot of people there. A lot of people there. Hold on. I re-listened to this podcast. Is it true that law enforcement did recover Amber's pocketbook from the Discovery site? Amber's or Shannon's? Because I didn't hear that, but Amber's, from what I understand, and I might be wrong, from what I understand from every interview that I've heard, Amber left her bag and her phone and everything at home, at least according to Dave Schaller and the interviews that I was watching recently. Because in the very beginning of the investigation, they were saying that all the girls left all their phones and everything at home, which didn't really make too much sense from since they were also saying that he made phone calls from one of their phones. They were saying that they left their like phones and pocketbooks and stuff behind. So I don't know about that. I'd have to go back and listen, but I don't. Yeah, that's an interesting question.
One of the other news outlets reports road footage of what looked like burnt roads.
By the way, these discrepancies in like Dave Schaller's words and on these interviews, you don't think that's going to be used by his defense team? Like when he goes to court, if there's discrepancies of, Dave Schaller saying, "Oh, I saw her the night she left," and then all this stuff, you know what I'm saying? If he testifies, because he's definitely going to be a key witness in this, if he testifies in this and he says, "Oh yeah, I saw the car," and then they're going to pull up all those interviews that said, "Oh, well, you said here and here, you didn't see the car that day." So that should be interesting.
In the backyard, could you share anything?
I can tell you that there was ground piercing um, technology used in the backyard, and there specifically there was nothing of note of taken from the backyard as far as remains. There is a whole entire trace analysis that we have to go through with the house with regard to hair fibers, DNA, blood, which we'll just have to await the results on.
This didn't go into trial for a long time.
The house in general was cluttered, and there were a lot of guns taken from the house. The defendant had.
So weird because the guy asks about a mattress and he's answering about guns. I think he misunderstood the question or misheard it, but he doesn't even answer about a mattress. It's the first time I'm hearing about a mattress.
Had 92 handgun permits. In addition to handguns, he had quite a few long guns as well.
92 handgun permits. I don't know how that doesn't get flagged in the system. I'm sorry. That's insane. No one person needs 92 handguns. I mean, especially an architect. Like, what are you doing with all these guns? I find it odd too because none of the victims were shot. Not one victim was shot. So like, yeah, it just goes to show this wasn't about killing. Like, this was about a sexual fantasy. You know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't about just killing somebody. It was deeper than that, because if you were just going to kill somebody, use a gun. I mean, especially when you have 270, what was it, 79 of them, guns are messy, but I'm just saying.
There's a number of locations which we've searched, but we'll keep that to ourselves for now.
Yeah, this has been entered into a national database. The suspect's DNA likely was entered into a national database, state database. Is there any hit with any other unsolved case so far?
So, with regard to state and national DNA databases, there are specific rules with that under New York and federal law. Usually that only happens when you have a convicted person is convicted of a crime. As far as specifically the database, his DNA has not been entered in that database.
That is fucking insane to me, dude. Like, so he has to. So, how does that help in investigations in New York State if you can't take a DNA sample from somebody, in a crime and then run it through the database? I mean, that's just crazy to me. In the Lid podcast, hold on. In the Lid podcast, someone close to the case said he spent time with the victims before and after death. He heard that from the medical examiner. No one was shot. Yeah, I heard that. And I personally think that's probably one of the better podcasts to listen to on this case, just because they don't focus so much on, number one, the police, and number two, Shannon Gilbert. I hate to say that. Not that she doesn't deserve, attention, but her case is one that might not even be associated with this, realistically. And so, a lot of the shows and series that covered this really focused on her case. And unfortunately, she just might not be related. But anyway, yeah, I think that's a good one to listen to. I don't know, I know that nobody was shot because they've all said that, at least for the 4 victims that they're, tying to Rex Heuermann, that it was a homicidal asphyxiation or something like that. So basically, they were suffocated in some way. It could be any, a number of ways. They could have been choked or whatever, but they don't know for 100% sure.
Yeah, but it really jumps out. I mean, it's not there's something that just stands out among all the rest. What stands out?
You know, we're going to wait. I mean, I think everyone wanted that singular piece of evidence, but we're going to wait until we see all the evidence. But I don't think there's one thing that really jumps out at us at this juncture.
Was there a mattress found in the vault?
I'm sorry.
Is there any indication from the evidence of other victims?
Our investigation, focused on the Gilgo 4. We're going to continue to investigate that case and prepare that case for trial. And we have our investigation now has become public, obviously, and also it's broadened. So we're going to look at the other instances where bodies were recovered in that area as well.
Forensic testing continuing on Maureen Barnard.
Brainerd. I love when these people mispronounce everything.
And who is conducting it, and what do you know?
Investigation is continuing with regard to Maureen Brainerd Barnes, as well as other aspects of the case, and that's being.
They already answered this question like 100 times. Some of these newscasters, like they ask the same questions over and over. You'll hear it. They repeat like the same question. Somebody asks about one thing, and then another person asks the same exact question. I'm like, are you not listening? Like, what's going on here?
Done in the grand jury or through the grand jury process, so I can't talk about that more than that.
Yeah, they've answered this question a million times that they're still working on it. They said it in the first press conference. I mean, like, what more do you want them to do? They're waiting for testing and everything to come back.
It's being there is testing going on with regard to the hairs that were mentioned in the bail letter.
Just to clarify, he's not convicted yet. He's not convicted yet. So to clarify, are you not allowed to put his DNA into databases until after a conviction?
Under New York State law, that's correct.
That is fucking crazy.
Any closer to filing charges in that fourth case?
We're working towards
it. This guy just asked, and she just asked, and now this guy is asking the same fucking question. He just answered that.
And once we're once our investigation is continuing.
Can you tell us what else was found inside the vault besides guns? Anything leading to?
I love how they're all calling it the vault, like now, because like the police never called it a vault. But that's like a neighbor said that, and now it's like it's the vault. Like who knows what it is? It's probably just a room in the basement. But it's just kind of funny how the news just sensationalizes everything.
The house could be categorized as cluttered. So there is a great deal of stuff that was recovered. So we're just going to have to go through it. But it's. The list of items is quite large.
Inside the vault or inside the house in general? In other words, was there anything besides the firearms found?
I'm not going to specifically talk about where everything was recovered in the house until the all of the pictures and the reports have been gone over.
DA, I need to area or people actually enter
it. It was a large enough area for people to enter, but like the rest of the house, it was cluttered.
I need to clarify.
So it was just basically, excuse me, it was basically a separate room that was in his basement. That who knows if the basement was finished or, you know what I'm saying? But it looks like it was closed off from the rest of the house. Like in other words, because it had those weird cellar doors that like I don't know, people don't have those anymore. I haven't seen those in years. I had a friend who used to have those. Well, my aunt had them. So like you have to go outside to go into the basement. That's so weird. And maybe he had that locked off to the rest of the house. Who knows?
It was a cluttered. There was a lot.
What a stupid question. How cluttered was it? It's cluttered. I mean, like, is there a clutter scale somewhere? Who knows? It's cluttered.
A lot of just boxes and it was a very cluttered, I would say, environment.
DA, I need to clarify something, please. Because he's not convicted, can you not check his DNA?
Holy shit. They just asked this. He just clarified this.
Against the 6 other people vehicle found along Ocean Parkway.
I didn't say that.
That's what I'm trying to clarify.
Yeah.
No, what he's saying is he can't enter the DNA into a national database. But regarding the investigation, obviously they could check his DNA in the within the confines of the investigation with the victims. Like,
You asked me about the database. The database is national, and that has you know, I am not the members of our task force are not the guardians of that database. But with what we can do with regard to our own investigation is completely different. So you can't. One doesn't necessarily have to do with the other. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I came in a little late. Were any human remains found?
No. Well, what I would say is we're still going over the trace evidence, but you know, they were asking about with regard to the excavation in the back, if there were any large items of evidence recovered, and the answer to that question is no.
that was an interesting answer to that question, because they're like, were human remains found, which basically can, I guess, entail any part of a human, right? Hair, bones, I guess. But that was an interesting way that he answered that, which will probably lead to tons of speculation.
Was there any evidence in the backyard of things being
Or
burned?
an alleged crime scene?
I'm sorry.
Do you consider this home a crime scene or an alleged crime scene at this point?
I consider this a home in which we execute a search warrant.
Was there any evidence in the backyard of things being burned?
I can't specifically say one way or the other.
Can you tell us what led up to the decision then to excavate? Was there any tangible cause, or was it routine?
So there was ground technology that was able to see through the ground, and there were a number of disturbances that were found in the ground. But until you dig it up, you don't know what it is.
What do you mean by this? How would you
Like a disturbance could be like a
It is weird though that, like, all right, let's just say they went through the ground with the ground penetrating radar. Why would they bring in an excavator to dig? Like, there had to be something pretty large in size or that they saw to bring in an excavator, you know? Like maybe possibly a structure of some type. I mean, that's a lot for just, who knows? Like, why wouldn't shovels suffice in that situation?
like a cistern or a branch or a bicycle, anything that's buried under the ground. You can see the impression of it, but you don't necessarily know what it is until you dig it up.
And where does the investigation stand with the number of sex workers who now say they were contacted by him?
So when we started our investigation, we did it through the grand jury. That investigation was we wanted to maintain the secrecy of the grand jury investigation. Obviously, that now that there's been an arrest, it's become public. So we are interviewing a great many people.
Does that mean that all the grand jury documents become public? That's interesting. I never knew they used grand juries in this way, like this. It's really interesting.
We're interviewing a great many people, but we're going to keep what our conversations.
They already talked about this, and I don't know if I don't believe it was him, but it could have been one of the other, like the chief or the commissioner or somebody. They already talked about somewhere, I saw it, where they were talking about how they, right when this happened, basically they went into jails and they were interviewing other, I guess, known prostitutes and seeing if they had any contact with him.
What, if any,
just goes to show that the news doesn't keep up with the news. You know what I'm saying?
Conversations we have with our witnesses between us and the witnesses.
These witnesses are coming from different states.
I'm sorry?
Are these witnesses coming from different states?
I don't think that this investigation is limited to New York State, certainly.
Regarding the Chevy avalanche, you have often spoken about March 14th, 2022 as being the watershed moment. You were able to identify him as a suspect. There's been a lot of talk in the last 12 days about clues missed early on, like that this car wasn't looked at. I mean, can you explain why that may have happened?
That's a good question.
So I think we laid it out pretty extensively in our bail letter. For us, for our task force. Our task force started February 1st, 2022. 6 weeks later, we had identified this individual as a target, and we talked about a number of factors which allowed us to do that. The hairs that we spoke about, the 5 hairs of note with regard to the bodies, those were recovered shortly after the bodies were recovered in December of 2010. With regard to the phone evidence, that work was done and completed by
Muffin Mouse, I don't trust News Nation.
the FBI.
Not completely.
In early 2012, and and with regard to the avalanche, that information was made available shortly after the disappearance of Amber Costello. But again, when you look at everything, that is three items that are in and amongst thousands of items. So I think retrospectively, it's kind of simple to look at, but when you're looking at everything, all the evidence at once, it's an enormous undertaking, and that's why to guarantee success, you bring in really talented investigators from a whole bunch of different agencies.
Yeah, that's really interesting that you said that, because I was thinking that too. And even to this day, I don't know why, now that I know this case, I've been noticing how many of those avalanches are around. Like, there's one parked right up on a corner, near me, that's for sale right now, a green one just like it. And they're all over the place. I've been noticing now, and it's an older car by now. It's 10 years old. But what do you call it? They were saying in this type of investigation, I was listening to somebody's commentary or something, but like in this type of investigation, it's so much harder because, in most murder cases, or a lot of murder cases, it's like you're only looking at, maybe a family member, right? Because a lot of women are killed by their husbands, or, you know what I'm saying? A lover that's jealous. So you're looking at such a smaller circle of people, suspects. But now you got this like huge pool of suspects. You got 6, 10 bodies in all, but let's just say the 4 even. You got to look at everybody they know, everybody they were in contact with, so it's just a way wider pool that they got to look at, and I mean, I don't know. He's kind of dodging the question here. He doesn't want to badmouth the people that were handling the case before, he stepped into office basically, but they kind of dropped the ball. Let's just be honest here. The database to search for green, avalanches was there, back in that time. Maybe they just didn't use the same tactics that these guys were using. Like he said, he reinforces in every single interview that he does about the grand jury, the grand jury, the grand jury, the grand jury. So like, maybe that just wasn't being used at the time the way it should have been.
Agencies, you use the resources of those agencies, and you work together on a daily basis.
But people in this neighborhood who say it was more than a year, so March of 2022, you made a point of saying that in court.
I'm sure he was shitting his pants when they showed that belt.
People in the neighborhood who say, well, okay, it was a year, more than a year.
Oh, I didn't understand this question. Hold on. I'm going to rewind this because I want to understand what this lady was asking.
Together on a daily basis.
But people in this neighborhood who say it was more than a year, so March of 2022, you made a point of saying that in court. People in the neighborhood who say, well, okay, it was a year, more than a year, and then he's living through all that time. What do you say to the residents?
I don't even know. What is that question? I don't understand that question. Oh, I guess what she's saying is that if they knew who he was a year ago, right? Why would you let this guy stay, living in this neighborhood knowing he's a danger for an entire year? Well, I guess, I don't know I forget what his answer was because I couldn't really hear that well when I was originally watching this, but I guess the answer would be that like they were surveilling him. So, I don't know. Interesting.
Well, I'm saying to the residents that a 13-year-old cold case doesn't get solved in a matter of weeks or days. The DNA evidence in and of itself was a very lengthy, arduous process.
Right. Just because they identified him as a potential suspect a year ago, they still had a whole bunch of, obstacles that they had to go through in order to connect him with the crime 100%, so they had to wait for DNA testing and all that stuff. And in the meanwhile, they had him surveillanced, which I don't think he says here, but he probably should have, just to give people a sense of security.
Which required the cooperation of a number of agencies. And unfortunately, these things take time. Also,
Oh, I'm sure that's an interesting trial, this business. That girl's crazy.
so the grand jury process in New York State, in order to charge somebody, you need to charge them, and you need to, in a case of this nature, with the different moving parts, you need to go into the grand jury, and unfortunately, that doesn't happen overnight.
Like, I don't want to
sorry?
stream somebody else while they're streaming. That's not, that's not right to do.
There were a number of items.
Unless it's Laura. I'm just joking, but I'm not going to take from the guy's stream.
Evidence, but I'm not going to specifically say where any one item of evidence was found in the house. No guns were returned to the home. To my knowledge, we all of the guns that were recovered, and we're talking about 283.
Yeah, they did. They had a man's description, and both of which were unique, and they had an area to narrow down. They just he doesn't want to badmouth the old investigators in this case. I really think it was just a matter of a lot of egos in this case, and maybe some investigators that were older and weren't as resourceful as some of the newer, maybe younger investigators. Because I mean, you got to remember, he's not an investigator; he's just a district attorney, so he's kind of speaking for everybody. But there was a lot of corruption in the police department back then, and clearly they dropped the ball in this case just a little bit. But maybe it's a good thing. Maybe it's a blessing in disguise in a sense, because back then they didn't have the DNA capabilities that they have. You know what I'm saying? And maybe the case wouldn't have been as solid as it is now. They didn't have this mitochondrial testing, so who knows?
To about approximately 279 weapons were recovered. They're being categorized. Some may not some may not be complete weapons. Some may not be able to be defined as a weapon under New York State law. But suffice to say,
that's weird.
Was quite a few weapons found in the house.
What's preventing you right now from bringing charges in the Fort Field case?
The investigation hasn't been concluded.
Have you spoken to the family? Are you aware if they're going to come home once this investigation?
So we informed the family. Obviously, they're represented by counsel. So we've spoken.
Yeah, Sarah, not only 279 weapons, he had 92 permits for like concealed carry, I guess, weapons or handguns. So like, why didn't that get flagged somewhere in the system? I don't understand. Like, I'm sorry, there should be some type of limitation on the amount of guns that somebody could own. I don't know. I don't know. I don't understand why you need to own 92 handguns. That's crazy.
To counsel.
And they intend to return to the home.
That would be.
Wait, what? Hold on. What's chick rating? There's a 6x2, 6 2x4s holding the friggin' porch up. Well, that's typically what's under everybody's porches. That's how they hold them up while they're building them. I guess you just never covered them with anything. But yeah. The house. You want to hear something funny? There was this guy that was posting drone footage, so I left a comment on his video, and I'm like, how are they allowing you to fly drones in there? And they're like, they don't care. There's really nothing they could do about it, I guess, because it's the airspace. I don't know how that all works. But he said that there was a news guy that was flying a drone, saw him flying the drone, and then launched his drone, and it crashed into something, and now there's a drone sitting on the roof of the guy's house.
Be allowed.
You know what's weird though? If you look at the roof of the house, it looks like the roof is pretty new in comparison to the rest of the house, which I just find weird. Like he went and replaced his roof. The roof's definitely new. It's that newer style of shingle. When I say new, it was probably the last like 30 or something years or 20 something years that style of shingle's been out. But it looks new to me. I mean, I just had my roof redone, so you know what an aged roof looks like. Like, you know how they get dirty and you could see like the water stains and everything on it. Like, the roof looks brand new, which is odd because the rest of the house looks so old and disgusting. He probably had no choice but to get a new roof, or maybe he didn't
That would be a question
an insurance claim after a storm. That's how we got our new roof.
for their counsel. And
Will we be allowed to?
once we've withdrawn.
A lot of people have asked about the family.
He doesn't want to answer that question, I think, because people are going to start stalking the house when the family returns, and that's not right.
Should they have known anything? Do you have any indication at this point that they had any awareness of this?
There's no indication, specifically that they had knowledge. And as we said in our bail letter, during the commission of the 3 latter murders of Melissa Barthelemy, Megan Waterman, and Amber Costello, they specifically were out of the state and traveling during the time of those 3 victims' disappearance.
I wonder where they were when the first one went missing.
What struck you as circumstantially interesting or bizarre about the stuff that you dug up or the house itself? I mean,
It's really interesting because I've always wondered what made him pick. Because if you ever look, all these girls went missing between I think it's May and September, during the summer. So in the early days, people were saying that maybe the person is a traveler and they don't live here full time, or somebody from the city, because a lot of people will come out here and stay on Fire Island, for the summer. They have houses here. So a lot of people that live in the city will come out here for the summer and they'll stay in their houses in Fire Island or the Hamptons or whatever. So they were basically saying that maybe it's somebody who's a traveler who's not here year round, because there's no murders in the winter, it's only in the summertime. But I think now it makes sense, is because maybe that's when his family just went on vacation, and that's the times a year that he, was able to do this.
what stood out to you about this that might, in a sense, reveal something in the character of the alleged?
I don't, we as prosecutors and investigators, we don't really deal in feelings or, we deal in facts. So what we've done is we've acquired a lot of information. So what we're going to do now is what we've been doing all along, is we're going to work with our partners. We're going to go through that material, and we're going to see what, if any, way it fits into the case.
About how many pieces of it was?
Oh God, it's a tremendous amount of information that was I'll say this, a tremendous amount of information that was derived in conjunction with the searches incident to arrest.
Was there anything burned down in the storage unit?
I'm sorry.
Was there anything burned down in the storage unit?
Again, we're going, once we complete the process, we're going to we're going to have further word with regard to that. But what you have to understand is we were looking for tangible items of evidence as well as trace evidence, including blood and DNA.
All right, just noticed in this clip that they're carrying a shoe. Hold on a second. Which doesn't mean anything.
For
Could be a
tangible
shoe.
items of evidence as
Anybody.
well as trace evidence, including
Right.
blood.
That's from when they recovered the bodies, or at least when they were doing the search there, when they were conducting the search. I mean, doesn't necessarily mean it was a victim's shoe.
And DNA and hair fibers and the like. And when you talk about something like that, that is a process that it takes a while for that process to be analyzed
I still can't understand the green fascia boarding on the house.
by the experts. So that's going to take a while.
That means that
the
something could have
possibility
been
that the
in the
murders occurred here? Have you ruled out that?
We haven't ruled in or ruled out anything with regard.
Okay, so you see how the news is reporting that oh, it's possible the murders happened in the house, but they haven't ruled anything out or in.
To that.
Did you find any trophies?
DA, that means that maybe there was human remains or something in the house, since everything is so up in the air. Maybe there was some blood droppings.
Well, as I said, that we look for trace evidence, and that we have that is a process that is a scientific process that is done in a lab, and we just haven't had the time to go through that process. So it's incomplete. So you can't say anything more than it's incomplete.
Did you find anything that would be characterized?
Were all of them related to firearms, or was there another type of weapon?
We're talking. I'm specifically talking about what would commonly be referred to as a firearm.
No other strange weapons.
No, and the only reason why I sort of hedge with that is because under New York State law, like a black powder, what the public would say that's a gun. Well, under New York state law, that might not necessarily qualify as a weapon. Or under
Did you say black powder? I'm a little confused there.
federal law, certainly. I have nothing to provide with regard to the brother's house in South Carolina. I have no information. I have no comment with regard to what's going on in South Carolina. It's not my jurisdiction. We are for all intents and purposes done with the search. Very soon. We're going to rely on the Suffolk County Crime Lab. They're going to do it, withdraw at a time that they deem appropriate. But as far as the search of the house, for all intents and purposes, that has been concluded. I'm not going to get into
Were the floorboards removed at any point?
the specifics with regard to the search, but we were looking for trace evidence.
Is that for August 1st?
I'm sorry.
Is that when we can expect you to report next? August 1st?
Correct.
And when can we expect that court to learn more about the evidence right?
We're going to be, that's just the first conference after the arraignment. So just a typical court conference. We're going to talk about discovery.
A black powder gun, maybe that's, I don't know. I don't know much about guns, so.
Providing the voluminous discovery in this case, that process is going to start. As a matter of right, defendant has a right to a bail hearing. So we'll see what happens with regard to that.
Has any of the evidence you discovered at the house led you to a theory on the manner of death?
Other than what we've said at the time of arraignment, no. And the cause of death with regard to the three victims has been categorized as homicidal violence.
Did you find any trophies? You had spoken about potentially looking for trophies.
We're not going to specifically talk about specific items of evidence until everything's been cataloged and gone over.
I would imagine that if he had any trophies, they were in those storage units. I don't know, because I feel like, why would you risk, if you have storage units, why would you risk leaving that in your house when it could be found easily by somebody in your house? I don't know, but I could be wrong. I'm just guessing.
As we said, there is quite a lot of stuff.
Was anything discovered at the property leave?
Susie, I'm about, maybe 40 minutes away, but it's not far, I mean, it sounds far, but it's not. It depends on the traffic, honestly. I could probably get out there in 35 minutes.
Your agents to feel emotionally moved or psychologically, shifted?
I think that we have a job to do, and we're also human beings. But I think that I would commend all of the examiners for their professionalism.
Is it accurate to say the public, we may never know if he's guilty how he killed them because it was so long that went by?
I think we have to let the process work out.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, could you tell me, is there going to be a search by Gilgo Beach when you're at Ocean Parkway? Anything happening over there?
So
why would there be a search there?
So, we don't announce our searches before we do them. So we just can't make a comment as to, specific areas, if any, to be searched. All right.
Where was this vault in the home, and was it sort of thing that you walk into?
It was big enough to walk into, and it was in the basement. Okay, thanks, guys.
Well, that's it. That is a wrap right there on the press conference. Glad I found it finally. So pretty interesting. I still think there might be trophies on the doll. It's weird. The doll, I was looking at the picture that I showed you guys yesterday, and I noticed that the hair is really similar. It's this blonde, really super curly hair that was on the doll that was similar to the one that was at Amber's, the cross that they had. Some with Amber. I don't know, man. Amber is the one. I think he had a lot of anger towards her because of that ruse that they did on her. And because that doll that was there had the stuffing in the mouth, shut up or something. I don't know. I just feel like she was out of all the girls, she was the firecracker. She was the one who, probably fought the hardest. Who knows though? He could have drugged these girls, drugged them at some point in the night. Who knows how this all went down? I can't wait to find out. Not that, look, I don't want to hear, it's terrible what happened to these girls, but at the same time, interesting, I guess, in a sense, to know what this guy was doing. And you know what the scary part is to me? I was saying this in the guy's live stream this morning. Like, how scary is it that you could live with somebody for like 20 something years and like not know that they're up to this? Like, that they're living this entirely separate, fucking disgusting, crazy life. Like, it's really fucking scary. It's a scary thought for, even if it's your dad, your husband, I couldn't imagine how it would feel to find out my dad was doing shit like this, like, fuck, that's even worse because that's like your whole life, and then you wonder to yourself, like, what's wrong with me? I mean, it's just crazy. Absolutely crazy. So, anyway, did I just see somebody say that Voices is on Laura's panel or something, or was I reading things wrong? So, these ego guys have just blown up to the sky. Who? Chick, the cops? He's so gross looking. You would have drugged me. You would have to drug me in order to do the job. Yeah, no shit. Most of the men who I would assume, most of the men who pay for those types of services, they aren't the world's most attractive or desirable. I mean, ugh. Dude, I don't know how. I know people got desperate for money and shit, but I just that is one thing that I don't fucking care how desperate I was. I will sleep fucking sweep floors at McDonald's, clean toilets before I would ever subject myself to fucking that kind of shit. And I'm not saying that the girls are wrong for doing that. I'm just saying I probably would have sold drugs or something first, and taken that kind of risk with myself rather than, just I couldn't, I just don't think I could ever fucking make myself do that. That's disgusting. Ugh. Probably lived with a lot of gaslighting. Oh, absolutely. There's no question. No, I don't judge them either, Heather Marie. I'm just saying, me personally, I couldn't do that. I mean, I couldn't do strippers either. And I have nothing against, a girl being a stripper or anything like that. Like, look, if you have the body to do that and the confidence to do that, you go for it. It's easy money and it's good money. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm all for it if you want to do that. But I just personally could never, bring myself to do that. Like, but then again, I wasn't in that situation where I had, for instance, Maureen Brainerd Barnes. She had, two children. She's fighting to stay in her apartment. She's got, one of the dads fighting for custody of her children. And, she just wanted to keep her kids. And so, maybe that's not the most ideal thing to do, but it is, it was easy, quick money that could have helped her out. The one good thing that came out of that interview, though, that the girl, Nikki, that I doubt her story, I appreciate that she said this on CNN last night. The girl that, says she went on a date with him at some point in time. I appreciate that she said that she got out of that life, and was able to like change her life, and that those girls didn't get a chance to do that. She pointed that out, and I mean, if there's anything good out of her coming out and talking about this, whether it's the truth or not, at least she's putting that message out there that there's hope for, you know what I'm saying, for these girls to like get out of that lifestyle and find something better to do. If my kids were starving and needed food, of course I would do it, but I've never been in that situation. Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't know because I've never been in that situation. If my son, like they said, Maureen Brainerd Barnes, she was trying to apply for jobs and just she got a telemarketing job, but it just wasn't cutting it. Especially, well, I don't know where she lived, but here on Long Island, I mean, it's fucking expensive to live here. Seeing this isn't a cheap place to live, So if you want to stay here, it would be very hard. I'll tell you right now, I wouldn't have been able to make it, on my income by myself. That's why I lived with my mom until I was in my late 20s. And then I only moved out because my husband. I wouldn't have been able to survive on my own here. There's no way. I wasn't making enough money. And my the apartments and rent and all that shit here is just almost unaffordable unless you move in with somebody. So he also lured them by offering. Well, yeah, that's one of the big things, Susie, is he offered he offered just a ridiculous amount of money. And it's kind of sad because some of these girls were so, I guess in such a desperate situation that they didn't question that. Because according to Dave Schaller, that amount that he was, he had offered Amber was like $1,500. That seemed to be like the rate that he was offering. All these girls, like that was like way, 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 way more than they were making, But then again, I think it was also he was asking them to come, spend the night with him, which I don't think was typical in this situation. I think they pay per hour, right? So if the girl comes for an hour, you pay for them for that hour. But he was asking them to spend the night for an amount that was just way more than they would typically make, even in a week. So how old are his kids? I know I think the daughter is around 26, and then the other kid that lives in the home with him isn't his kid, and I don't know. He looks like he's in his 20s. I know they're both adults. Like neither one of them's in school, which is again typical of Long Island, people to be living with their parents until they're in their 20s and sometimes even 30s, just because it's so hard to afford apartments here. Now show his house. What do you mean? How would I do that? These nasty men throw their money around to desperate women. Story. Oh, yeah, right. It is. Daughter's 22. Stepson is 26, 27. Oh, okay. So he's older. He has special needs from what I understand. So that's going to be hard for him to understand what's going on. Yeah, right? That's what mac and cheese. I was thinking about that the other day. I'm like, he had a daughter. And some of the girls, I mean, his daughter's, young, but some of the girls that he was doing this to 10 years ago were the same age as his daughter is now. I mean, and that happened. Same thing with BTK. He was killing women, and well, he was really sick, that guy. But he had a daughter too, and it's like, how do you do that? Like, what if somebody did that to your child? Like, I just don't understand that. I think he will take it to trial to twint the families a little more. Oh, absolutely, he's taking it to trial. There's no question that he's taking it to trial. I mean, he already entered a not guilty plea, so. Okay, Jay is over play in front of Rex's house. Oh, he's out there? Hold on. Give me a second to find his channel again. Hold on. I never understood that. He was probably using the spend the night as a ruse so no one would miss the women for at least 8 hours. Yeah, absolutely. One of them was weird though because he met her at a hotel and then somehow got her to come out of the hotel, which I just find so weird. You know what I'm saying? Like she had to put herself up, Megan Waterman, she had to put herself up in a hotel, and then he met her at the hotel, but he didn't come into the hotel. Obviously, we know why, because he didn't want to be seen on cameras, but like he didn't he didn't meet her there. Yeah, oh, that was another thing. Somebody said there was footage. It was like her mom or something in an interview I was watching that there was like footage of her being picked up. And I'm like, really? Because I don't know. He was basically on the front lawn. Oh, all right. Hold on a second. Let me try to find it. Live from Lisk here. I mean, I've seen the house on Google Maps. It don't look too much different if you go in the street view. Let me get through here. Is my husband outside with here like a what do you call those damn things?
Subscriber only.
All right, this is way early on. Hold on a second. Let's see if my internet will let me fast forward. By the way, go subscribe to this channel. I haven't watched many of their other videos because I got I just happened to click on somebody's community post. Oh yeah, look at that. He is right up in the mix right there. This is it though. People should not be going past this guy's house anymore, or you know what I'm saying? Like at this point, let these neighbors and stuff need to, they need some. Yeah, the house looks exactly like it does on Google Maps, honestly. What a shithole. The neighbors were, I have to say, the neighbors, I mean, I'm sure they're like, their minds are blown right now, but they all are probably relieved that like something is gonna happen to this house, hopefully, whether they bulldoze it or whatever. Because I mean, could you imagine, like, you know, this is a nice area where this house is. You know, it's not as nice as like other areas of Massapequa Park, but like, I mean, Massapequa, it is. It's an okay area. Like, you know, middle class area, basically, you know, middle class neighborhood where people take care of their properties and stuff. And it's like you got that one house. Every neighborhood has a house, or every street has a house. A house, like I got one down the block from me. It's like, dude, could you like mow your fucking lawn? You know, like I'm so glad I don't live next door to this person, because like their lawn is a mess. The house is falling apart. There's fucking, you know, holes in the side of the house where animals are living in it. And it's like, dude, take care of your house. You know what I'm saying? Like there's cars all over the place. Like it's just like, come on, man, because you're bringing down everybody. When you don't take care of your house like this, it brings down everybody else's property value. You know, if somebody wants to sell their house on the block and they put or especially, you know, somebody who's like, you know, one of the surrounding houses is like right next to it. Who wants to look at an eyesore like this? You know, who wants to live across the street from an eyesore like this? Like, you know, so I get it. I get the frustration. I mean, like, look how old school it is. Back in the, I don't know if this was like a thing everywhere, but back in like the early '80s when I was a kid in on Long Island, a lot of people had these like hedges in front of the house. I guess it was just like the curb appeal of the '80s. I don't know, you know, things that people would do to their houses back in the day. My parents had them. And it's so funny because, like, we had them actually, my mom and dad were getting rid of them and they put a fence up, like a split rail fence. And my neighbors from around the corner dug out every single bush. The guy came over and he dug out every single one of those bushes and he put them on his corner. And they're still there to this day. My mom's bushes, they're still on the property of the person who lives in that house. It's not the same person anymore, but the bushes are still there. But like this is like so, you know, 1980s curb appeal with the fucking bushes, the hedges in the front there that you have to trim every week. God, who would want to do that? Fucking Edward Scissorhands bushes that you have to fucking shape up. I guess the police let the news in to get some B-roll footage before they left. Fast forward a little. See what else. Look at that thing. What's going on there? There's actually a photo I found of the stepson, I guess, out on the front porch here with somebody who's like playing a guitar. Those windows are so ugly and weird. Why wouldn't you want like nice full sized windows? That looks like the bathroom windows, and like I don't know, it's just really weird. This house just I don't know how this house fits in this neighborhood. It's very, very out of place. The first thing I said when I saw the news report that morning, and they hadn't even mentioned him yet, or a name. We didn't have a name or anything. And I immediately go and I watch the news report and I see this house in the background and I'm like, that has to be the house. Like, you know, so I go online. I figured out because I was able to see from the report they were standing on the corner. So I was able to see like the intersection that they were on. And then it was very easy to find the house from there and the address of the house on Google Maps. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, I mean, I was like, as soon as I saw it, I'm like, this is so out of place for that area. Like, I'm very familiar with this area. I worked there for 10 years, right in the next town over. It's called Amityville. So I worked there and then in Copeg, which is basically the same town. I mean, it's like right next, they're literally right next to each other. I worked one block and I was in Amityville, and then I walked, my next job was another like 2 blocks over, ironically enough, in the old building of the company I was working for previously. And it was in this town called Copeg. And I spent my lunch breaks, like there's a mall right next to where this guy lives. And I spent my lunch breaks at the mall all the time. I would go in there and shopping. The mall has since been closed down. It's like abandoned now. But anyway, just I'm very familiar with the houses. Actually, I just thought of this morning. I'm like, oh shit. When me and my husband started like dating, like officially, he actually lived in Massapequa for a little bit with a friend. So I'm kind of familiar with the area and the houses and everything. And it's like, his house just looks so out of place for that area because it's like a really, it's just a nice area. It's very well maintained, the houses around there. They might not necessarily be like huge houses, but the people take care of their properties and shit. Plus, I have family right, I mean, in this area. So,
So I can let, that's true, they do not, they do lose it.
so crazy to see all the different police departments together. Because this is in Nassau County. So, like, it's out of Suffolk County jurisdiction. So, it's kind of crazy to see Nassau cops, Suffolk cops, all at the same, place working together. Suffolk Coco. I wonder why everybody's just standing there. All right, not dark. Ugh, look how old everything is. So weird. The garage door looks odd. What is that thing? What the hell is this thing? These wheels. What is that? He had like some weird thing. If you go on Google Maps, I think I showed you guys this the other day. It was like a I don't know. I don't know what it was. I wonder if it was that thing. It looked like an old car or something, like under a tarp. I don't see it. What the hell that thing? Oops, sorry. What the hell happened? Oh my god. Sorry. I hit the back button, I guess, by accident. Jeez.
Subscriber only.
All the way back to the beginning. Somebody's using a chainsaw or something. Right. I don't know what the hell is going on here. It's either asbestos shingles or which is like God, I haven't seen those in a long time.
Yes, the
It's
officer
either
was running for
asbestos or shake shingles, which a lot of people have here. It's so weird because I remember we went down to Florida. Like, it's so weird how different the houses look. Because up here, everybody has like pretty much everybody. I'm not saying like every single house, but the majority of houses have we have vinyl siding. Most people have vinyl siding. Like back in the day, it used to be aluminum or asbestos shingle or shake. If you go down by the water, for some reason, a lot of the houses have shake, which never makes sense to me because those get so weathered looking and they like never look good. I don't know, but whatever. People have them. They sell vinyl siding now that has like that look, that same look. But you know, it's weird because when you go down to Florida, all the houses are like stucco. Like you don't see the siding like we have up here down there. I mean, people have stucco up here too, some people, but the majority of houses up here have vinyl siding on them. So yeah, the house definitely looks like shit. I mean,
Yes, the
I'm not gonna lie.
I did ask him that. He didn't answer. He didn't want to talk about it.
I don't know why he has those posts there. They don't even look like they're. I guess maybe the roof was sagging or something. I don't know. It's weird. I've seen houses like that have like that little porch area, and I mean, you don't need to have a post necessarily. Fucking post is holding the whole house up. Okay, for all we know, the inside could be beautiful. Okay, don't judge a book by its cover. I mean, that's pretty much it. There's not much more to see here. That's the house. Everybody's got one of them in their neighborhood. Actually, this house looks nicer than some of the ones I've seen in the past in my neighborhood.
Ted, where are you, Ted?
Yeah, so that's it. I'm not gonna play this guy's whole stream here, but that's pretty much it. Just wanted to go over the thing there. See those 2x4s? Yeah, that's pretty bad. It is a shithole. Yeah, I mean, come on, it's a shithole. Don't feel bad. It is a shithole. His house is out of code. He was building. That would be really ironic, Sleuth. I wouldn't. You know what? I wouldn't doubt it. I really wouldn't doubt it that house is out of code. It looks like it's out of code. Even those like cellar steps, like I don't know anybody that has those anymore. Those like outdoor, fucking Wizard of Oz Anthem cellar steps like that. That's so funny. I haven't seen those in a long time. Yeah, it looks like real cedar shake. The roof looks new though, because like all the drone footage I've watched, like if you look, it looks like he has a new roof on the house. So I mean, he must have had to get it replaced at some point. Siding is expensive to do. There's no question on that one, but damn, maybe if he wasn't spending all his money on guns and call girls, maybe he would have been able to, reside the house. I just kind of feel like he left it like that maybe for a reason, to keep people away. Some people do that, they might have the money, but they might just, like that. Like there's certain houses, everybody has that house, and the neighbors were saying this in all the news interviews last week. It's like they don't let the kids trick or treat at that house, and there's like everybody's got that house in the neighborhood where it's like you don't trick or treat at that house. I mean, I know I did when I was a kid. So yeah, the electric box is old. But there was somebody who would come out and said they were like an interior designer and that they had been in his house helping with something. So I don't know. I don't know what was going on the inside of the house there, but certainly on the outside, they weren't. They had not updated. I'm just surprised because I thought he was some big New York City architect. So yeah, right. You would think so, right? You would think that an architect would live in a nice house, but. Anyhow, all right, guys, I'm gonna end this. I just wanted to kind of go over that, and that was it, really. I owe my old coworker lives in Sagasta apology because I thought he was the Gilgo Beach killer. Oh shit! Well, Sagasta is very close to Massapequa, so you never know. B-Fergs, there might still be another person out there that's at large. So I wouldn't hand that apology out just yet. Anyway, all right, guys, have a good day. I'm gonna skedoodle. What's his name say? Be Tim skedaddle skedoodle. I'm gonna go finish doing my laundry. But it was great talking to you guys today. I'll see you next time. Have a good day, everybody.